Everybody, Matt here, back again. This is going to be a slightly different type of video from what you're probably normally used to because I'm shooting it on another camera, so there won't be any editing with this one because I'm just shooting it on my phone. But I wanted to talk about my favorite Beatles album. Now, I don't know how you guys organize your records, but the way I organize them is by alphabetical order by the artist. And then if there's something by a member of that band or something associated with that act, it goes with that particular collection. So I've got a couple Pink Floyd tributes, and so those go with Pink Floyd's. And then all down here is soundtracks. So all my Beatles stuff is right here. And a lot of it I got from my parents. And that was a great gift they gave me because those were the records from the time. And my dad went ahead and he framed his copy of Revolver for me. So that's pretty cool. Got that. And when it comes to Beatles fans, you know, it's really all over the map of what's people's favorite. I used to say for a long time my favorite was Sgt. Pepper's. And I guess in a way it still is of the studio albums. And it was one of the first ones I fell in love with. It's a really good album. And, you know, rightfully so, regarded as one of the greatest albums of all time. But out of all these Beatles records, there is one that is my absolute favorite. It is right here. The Beatles' Love. And I've heard people say, you know, this isn't really a Beatles album. It's a remix, it's a compilation, it's whatever you want to call it. To me, it's a Beatles album, you know, right there. And this is my favorite because I had heard the Beatles before. And I had been familiar with their work, but nothing on the level of this. And when you got George Martin producing it, and you've got the blessing of all of the people that are in Apple, and that you have Yoko Ono Lennon and Olivia Harrison backing this, I don't know how you could not call it a Beatles record. This was and the show for this is incredible too. If you haven't seen it in Las Vegas, I've seen it 4 times. It's a really good show, and they just did a big update on it, so that's really cool too. But this is just, for me, as far as packaging goes, it's got this wonderful booklet in here, and unlike Over the Garden Wall, this really could not be part of this because this is a 2-record set. And I was surprised how they laid out the track listing on there. But they do a fantastic job. And for those of you that may not be aware, basically what this album is the soundtrack to the Cirque du Soleil show Love, with the music by the Beatles, obviously. And what they did was they took all the Beatles tracks and they went back, cleaned them up, remastered them. And then they used pieces and parts and demos and things like that to create basically a new Beatles album. And it works fantastically well. This is something that the first time I listened to it brought me to tears twice. The first time was at the end when they sing All You Need Is Love. There's a really cool bit at the end where you hear them talking and it's very sweet. And then the other one, I'm very, you know, embarrassed to admit this, but it was during Octopus's Garden. Something about hearing Ringo's voice is so clear and so joyful and so, you know, funny. It really struck me. These are probably my favorite versions of these songs too. You've got a wonderful version of While My Guitar Gently Weeps on here, which is just George on an acoustic guitar, and they wanted more to back the track. So what George Martin did was he got some string players together, and they provided a string track for the back of it, and it's beautiful, absolutely heartbreaking to hear it. And you really get the emotions and the beauty of that song. And there's a great version of Hey Jude on here, where they take out everything but them singing for like maybe 10 seconds, 20 seconds. And it's just them singing, and you get the power of that song. It's just so cool. And like I said, the show is so fantastic and so cool. If you're a Beatles fan and you've kind of been on the fence about Love, it's been, you know, 11 years since it came out, but if you're on the fence about it, don't be. And this is my favorite album because, to me, it is the Beatles. It's a celebration of the Beatles. That's the best way I can put it. and it's in such a way that it is so loving and done with so much care and joy and meticulous time of making sure everything works on this record. It's perfect. You know, in my opinion, this is one of the few albums I can really say this is 10 out of 10. This is a really fantastic mix, album, idea. It's just so cool. And in the years following it, Cirque du Soleil has gone off to do other shows like this with artists like Elvis and Michael Jackson, and those are great shows. But for me, nothing really comes close to Love. There is talk of them possibly doing a Pink Floyd thing. I've read a couple articles about that. They're from a couple years ago. I hope those are true, because I would love to see that show too. But for me, in my Beatles collection, and you know what, I'm going to go ahead and say it, in my entire vinyl collection, this one here, probably my favorite. I love this record. And probably the main reason, which I haven't said yet, is this album, by its title and by its definition, by its message, is about love, and is about letting the people in your life know that you love them. And this always makes me think about all the wonderful people that I had in my life that I love so much. That's what this always reminds me of, so this will always have a special place in my heart. But anyway, that's all I have to say about my favorite album in my collection. I will see you guys next time.